Welcome back. Welcome back to my garage, everybody. So the bike is pretty much done. We're gonna do a little carb tango today. We're gonna be synchronizing those four guys and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. We got the side cover badges in. Would you like to see them? They're not the, I don't know, NOS kind, but they are an aftermarket one. So that means that that letter F is not raised up with a piece of plastic, but it's actually got like an orangish red paint kind of laid in. The good news is that these badges cost $1 million and they're made of metal. So that's kind of nice when you pay $1 billion for something to have it not be China plastic. So instead they're China pewter. This is the aftermarket cover. I don't know if I ever told you. One of these side covers I bought off eBay was like a aftermarket deal. And the plastic is actually about 1 mil or maybe 2 mils thicker than the other ones where the holes are for the side covers. So those little prongs didn't really have enough to grab the little clips. I put the clips on and it seemed alright, but I put some JB weld on just to pay homage to the gas tank emblems. So at least now these things will never fall off, and since they cost so much money, you know, I didn't really want them falling off. So they do have the small little circular clips under the JB weld, and they did feel like they were going to stay, but bikes vibrate a bunch and I'd rather just JB weld it and set it and forget it. So we're going to be doing a carb sync today, but I thought maybe there's some people out there that might want to know a little more about this, so let's make a video on it. The way this goes is you basically got to take off your gas tank because the synchronization adjusters are these two right here, and then you have the same two on the other side. So this would be cylinder 1, 2, cylinder 3, and 4. And basically there's a little tiny nut, an 8 mil nut that you loosen that locks it down, and then you can use a flathead to adjust the vacuum. The vacuum ports on these older bikes are pretty easy. They're right here. You just take out the little Phillips screw, and then in your synchronization kit there are these little brass tubes and they're threaded. So what you will do is you'll take, let's see if we can see in here. See this guy way back here on cylinder 2? I'll pop that screw out and then I'll jam this guy in there and tighten him down. And then there's a short one that's for this outside carb. And I know what you're thinking, this is a 4 carb bank and I only have a 2 bank little dilly whacker synchronizer. But instead of buying another one, I figured what I would do is I would just use these two on 1 and 2. Try to get 1 and 2 the same, and then just kind of take a photo or use the video camera on my phone to see where they're at, and then take them off and put them on 3 and 4, and then I'll be able to see where they're at, you know, in comparison to what I had on 1 and 2, and then adjust them so that way they're the same number. Like let's say we'll set 3 to be at the same number where these were, and then 4 would be the same also as 3. So this probably isn't ideal. These are the cheap Amazon ones, but you know, I don't really want to spend another $100 on this project when I already have this, so I'm going to try and see if this will work. If it doesn't end up working, then I'll just delete the video and you'll never see any of this. If this gets posted, then obviously it must have worked. So right now the bike will start. It does have problems where it has the idle hang up. So like for example, it'll idle fine, and after it starts to get warm, sometimes you'll get on the gas, and it goes, and it doesn't want to settle back down. So that's a sign of the carbs needing sinking. Real quick thing before you do that, you're supposed to get the cam chain adjusted, which is very easy. I don't know why it won't focus. There we go. That little nut there that's underneath the carburetors in the middle of the cylinder jugs, that's your cam chain adjuster on most of these 4-cylinder Hondas. I did it like a few weeks ago. I can't remember, but I didn't video it. But I think the way it is you have to get It was either 1 or number 4 on top dead center. I can't remember. So don't quote me on that. Look it up online or use your shop manual. And then as soon as you're at top dead center on, I believe, number 1, or it might be 1 and 3, I think. No, it was 1 and 4 are on top dead center the same, and then 2 and 3 are paired up, I believe. Anyway, so it'd be 1 and 4 you're looking for. And all you do is you loosen that nut, and it's spring loaded, so as you loosen it, it self-adjusts, and then you just lock it back down. And there's a, I can't get it on there, but there is a little flathead deal in the middle, I believe, that you hold it with. I can't remember. It's like a 5-10 minute job at the most. So before you get to the carb sink, you're supposed to have the carbs fully clean, possibly rebuilt. Got to have your filters on. Got to have the cam chain adjusted. And you're supposed to have the timing also set. I know this is a lot of information, but if you don't have those things done first, then the syncing will just go out of whack again when you go back and do the timing or when you rebuild the carbs. So basically you get everything all done, and this is the last item. Another good symptom, if you go out and ride the bike and it sounds great until you get to like higher RPMs and you want to go rah, and it just falls on its face. That's a good way to know that it might need the carb sync. So once you got everything all done, or if you just took your carburetors off and cleaned them, you're supposed to do this also afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and get some stuff hooked up, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys what we got. I just realized that I don't think I've ever shown you guys the bike running. So let's do that real quick. That's always fun. So key on, put that to run. So as you can tell, it's got the idle hang up already. So we'll just go ahead and get things hooked up, and then we'll get it running for you. Also, you need to hook up an auxiliary tank. So these are called like a fuel bladder. I got a lid for it. I just got excited about the video and left them down there. But you hook up one of these fuel bladders right into your line there, and then that'll help you be able to run without the tank. You got to have the tank off though to access this junk down here. Okay, I got it all hooked up. So this will be our number 1. That's our number 2. If you have these type, every time you do it, you got to unscrew these clear things, and then there's a flathead screw right there. That's your adjustment screw to zero that. I'm not going to zero them because I already did, and they're at the exact same number. So basically the most important thing when you sync these is that they're the same all the way across all cylinders. As far as the numbers go, I don't really know what the hell most of this reads. Obviously if it stays at 0, you're in trouble. You want these guys to be bouncing. And then after you turn on the bike and they're bouncing, you have these little air bleed valves. And you adjust those so the needle calms down and stops doing this crap. So, shoo, sorry, there's a fly trying to get in my face. So there's the 1 and 2 cylinders set up with those little rods that are hollow. And then we hook on these vacuum hoses that just go to the gauges. And unfortunately, there's some metal thing that connects the two, and that thing just freaking destroyed itself when I loosened the nuts. You can see it right here. I imagine it's just to keep them from shimmying around because it's kind of a loose thing. Just pairs them, but that bastard broke. Never been so betrayed in all my life since the last time this type of thing happened. So luckily I got a spare set of carbs, some junk carbs and stuff. I'll go and pirate those parts off of the spare set, which is why I keep a spare set. So let's go ahead and let's start the bike. Hopefully it runs for us, and then we'll see if these guys start jumping. bike one place, I'm almost slightly in a different place. I'm gonna assume that 1 is out. I don't know why, but I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna set 1 to 2s. In order to do that, now that I have those 8 mils loosened, I'm just gonna adjust that flathead right there. So let me get the flathead, a small one, and then I'll start it up and turn on the camera. All right, so we got key on, let's start the bike. Okay, so we got 1 and 2, we're both at 5. So, also when you adjust them, you're supposed to wrap on the throttle a few times too in between each adjustment to clear out the junk and get a better reading. And so I'll go ahead and I'll just say it's at 5. We gotta come back and carefully, we gotta tighten that 8 mil whilst holding that guy still. And then we'll go ahead and we'll hook these things off and close up the ports and go over to 3 and 4 and see if we can get them set up to 5. See how it runs after that. Done. So we came over here for 3 and 4. They're hooked up the same way. Now let's go ahead and let's see what they look like. Just about the same. They're like on 7, maybe 7.5-ish. They're probably wondering why the other ones were at 6 and these are at 7. The idles, actually I set it a little higher, and as the idle changes these will move, so you got to keep that in mind if you're going to try the 2-bank one on the 4 carburetors. So the bike seems to run a little bit better now. It starts up very easy. It already did, but it's even easier. So I had the idle a little bit higher, but that's just, you got to turn this thing like a hair, and then that brings the idle down. So there it is. It looks like it's all running well now. So we'll go ahead and get the side covers on when they dry, maybe later today, and the tank when it's cooling off a little, and either today or tomorrow I'll take it outside and you guys can see what it looks like in the sun. So one thing I wanted to point out is as you're tightening these, the little center screw is going to move, so you kind of have to, you're tightening that nut to the right, so you kind of want that to be a little to the left, and as you tighten it'll, that last little cinch, it'll move it back into place. So you really got to just mess around with the gauges, looking at them as you're tightening this to make sure that when you set that final nut, the lock nut, it doesn't mess up the gauges. So I hope that helped explain some of this crap, and good luck with your own projects. Thanks for watching.